Wicked.
Gangsta, gangsta,
Wicked.
gangsta, gangsta. Gangsta, gangsta,
Wicked.
gangsta, gangsta. It's not about a salary, it's all about reality.
Yo, we are live, man. Spine Ticks in the house with Corin Nemec. What's up, Corin? Good to see you, bro.
What's up, dudes? What's happening?
Oh man, I have
Good
got
to see you, my brothers.
you too, man. I was really enjoying our backstage conversation. A few things off the record, but we're gonna have an on the record stream here. We got a live chat of friends who are excited to talk to you about your career and all that. But
Right on, man. I'm excited to talk to them.
it's been like 30 years, man, and my last
Don't
memory
talk
of
in
you.
decades, bro.
I know, I know. Look at this younger guy swag, except he's got the
I
great
know.
chinny chin chin.
I
So
wasn't alive yet.
yeah, easy. So I mean, everybody in the chat, all of our friends, you know Corin Nemec. You've read his IMDb, but of course, right? Notably, Stargate SG-1, The Stand, Parker Lewis Can't Lose. And so, Corin, usually what happens, this whole live chat is full. They're all commenting.
Yeah,
I welcome them all by name, and it takes about 40 minutes, right?
yeah.
But I said this episode we can't do that because we only got Corin for like an hour, and he's graciously agreed to stay up on the East Coast. What's it like 11:02 for you right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the wife is like, hey, how long you gonna be doing that, right? She's like,
Yeah, man. Dude, life is so different now. I'm usually in bed by like 9:45, 10 o'clock, posted up, ready to crash, reading some cool, interesting books or something,
nice.
But
Well, at least two of us on the panel can read. My man Swag here, he buys comic books, but he never reads the insides.
Whoa. Some of them.
Yeah, some of them. So Corin, the last time, my last memory of you was at that McDonald's on Ventura. Remember that place? We'd hang out there.
dude, that McDonald's, man, you were risking your life hanging out at that McDonald's.
All right. Well, I came prepared here. Okay, so I took some slides, and let's show the people what the McDonald's looks like. Boom. You remember that?
Oh,
So
boy,
the-
do I.
So that McDonald's is no longer there. But my last memory of you was you kind of like, it was that night, you were in your full tagging mode, right? You're a graffiti artist, and you're kind of creeping along. You got the black jacket on, and I'm there. It's a party crew over there. I have a pirate's hat, not this one, but a dope one. And you were like,
Yeah.
you're basically organizing stuff, and you're like, I want you to be in this crew, and your name's gonna be Pirate. And I was like, oh, Pirate, okay. And I'm thinking that was like 1991. I'm thinking.
No, it had to be earlier than that.
Okay.
Because I had already graduated high school in 1990, and my memories of that particular McDonald's was all from the 80s.
Okay.
I don't think I really went to that McDonald's again after 1990 or 91. It might have been in 90, but I had kind of been forced to move out of North Hollywood to the Burbank area by 1989. So
Okay.
I wasn't really around that particular McDonald's too much. But I remember I was hanging at that McDonald's from like 1986 around then. That was a big hangout for taggers and stuff back then, and back when the whole area behind it was all tagged up with like FFF block letters,
Yeah, I remember, man, the NH boys. So, and by the way, for you guys in the live chat, definitely going to get your questions for Corin. We're just opening up, reminiscing. So, Corin, I got a two for you, because we're going to get into kind of like what got you into acting, and you had referenced our mutual friend David. But this is me. This is me and David around that time that you and I had kind of hung out there a little bit. So there's your homie SithLordly with the Raiders hat, and there's David right there. And for you guys in the chat, you're probably like, okay, well, who's this David guy? I'm gonna bring up this next
If it
one.
wasn't for David, I wouldn't have become an actor.
I know, man. And so, like,
Yeah.
you know, here's David. Corin, I mean, why don't you give your little intro about like what happened with David and how you got into acting?
Yeah, man. I moved. My mom was in the music business when I was growing up. She was a graphic designer, and she did poster design and marketing design and stuff like that for acts that were coming through Atlanta where we were living. And I was heavy into the hip hop scene in the 80s and break dancing and all of that. And so in Atlanta, the graffiti scene where I was at outside of the city, and even in the city, there wasn't a big graffiti scene. We'd be catching little bubble letter tags and really rudimentary stuff on like the trash cans behind Sparkles, the skating rink we used to go to, because they had a dance floor called the Launch Pad there where we would all break dance and stuff and get down when I was like 10, 11 years old. And my mom ended up working, going from a company called Standing Room Only, which used to book out the Omni Theater, big, huge arena shows and stuff. So she was doing the graphic design for them, and then moved over to the Fox Theater in Atlanta, which is owned by the Nederlanders. And they own all the theaters all across the US, and they own the Pantages Theater in LA. So she put in a transfer to work at the Pantages, and she got that transfer. She was good at what she did. And so we moved to Los Angeles in the mid 80s, and I ended up at Walter Reed Junior High School, where David Van Gorder was going to
Are you
school
talking
at the
about
time.
this Walter Reed Junior High School?
Yes, exactly. I got that book.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna open it up. Although you look a lot cooler than me in it.
Yeah, man. And so we were in the same graphic design class with Mr. Menendez there, and it was dope because I was in there with Spy 1000 and Vision, who were both like, next level graffiti artists, and that was, I was already scratching the surface of trying to get into graffiti art and what that really meant and the tagging thing. And when I saw what they were doing, I was like, oh, that's what it's all about, So my lettering style just went a whole different direction. My character drawing, was all, went a totally different direction, and my tagging style really went in a different direction. But
by the way, shout out to the
Van
missus
Gorder
right here, Corin. Your lady's here.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, Sabrina. She's watching from the other room.
Oh, well, she's free to join.
She's keeping an eye on me.
Yeah, she's free to slide right in.
Yes, my honey's always welcome. So David Van Gorder was in that class as well, and he was famous at the time for being Waldo in the Van Halen "Hot for Teacher" video, which was like a #1 music video and everything at the time. And I was like expressing him, because my dad was also in the film business. He's a production designer, art director, production designer, and he had done, he was assistant art director on Goonies. And that was the movie that made me think, man, I'd like to become an actor too, especially at a young age, because it looked like those kids were having a blast. And I had been on sets with my dad and seen how movies were made. I understood the sets and the facades and the, wardrobe. I kind of understood it all. So it seemed like something exciting to me. Honestly, my first love really was graffiti art. That was my first thing that I was really passionate about. And then I got into this acting class with David, because when I expressed to David that I wanted to get into acting, he was like, well, you should get into this acting class I'm in. It's called Center Stage LA. The artistic director was this gentleman named Kevin McDermott, who was fantastic. A fantastic, teacher for young kids as well, because he used a lot of improvisation, which helped us to loosen up and not feel, like we were trapped on the page or, trapped in the script. And so I went and auditioned for his class, and I got accepted. I got a scholarship for a number of months, and then we did a showcase for agents and managers. And about 6 months into my studying there, and I landed an agency. Abrams, Rubaloff, and Lawrence are not around anymore, but I started auditioning right away, and I ended up landing the very first audition I ever went on, which was for Paul Ventura Casting, auditioning for a Suzuki motorcycle commercial that was the 1986 Suzuki commercial for the Super Bowl. So it was like a big deal. Yeah, it was rad. So I landed that, and then things just sort of launched from there. And at the same time, I was living in two different worlds. It was like being Bruce Wayne and Batman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing this whole acting thing, and I never told anybody. I didn't promote it around school. I didn't tell anybody what I was doing, you know, because I was a graffiti head, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I was, you know, in my life there at school and whatnot. And so I don't know how many people even knew I was an actor until much later, you know, because also I went by Joseph, you know, in school.
That's how I knew you, man.
For the most part. Yeah. And then in acting, I was Corin Nemec. And I don't know, you know what I mean? And I just rode different. It was different. So I don't know how many people were really too aware that I was living two different lives. They might have been wondering, like, where the hell did Joseph disappear to for the last 2 months, you know?
Right.
But,
I got to tell you, by the way, Corin, this chat is popping, man. And so I know you can't see the chat, but Sabrina can see the chat. So hopefully she tells you after. But we got Katso Nemec here. And that's funny because...
not Katso.
I know, I was watching...
Nemesis.
I was watching another stream you were on, and I saw Katso was in there, so I was like, "Oh, Katso found spine ticks." There you go.
Dude, Katso is my absolute favorite nemesis ever. I haven't had a nemesis that I've enjoyed so much in my life. In fact, when Katso first came around, like over 10 years ago, when Twitter was still Twitter, Katso got like banned from Twitter a couple of times because other people who followed me were so offended by Katso's posts, but they didn't realize that I loved it. You know, I have a very thick skin. I grew up in the age of bagging. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that's when we grew up.
Yo mama jokes.
If you couldn't handle someone making fun of your mom or making fun of you, then you were not going to survive in the 80s. It was impossible.
Sure.
You were gonna go jump off a cliff or run into traffic. But because that's all it was, you know, it was bagging on moms and running from cholos, you know.
Exactly. And I know it's kind of small for you if I highlight the comments, but that's what I'm doing here. You know, we got a pop in live chat, and at some point they're gonna have some questions for you. They're gonna be like, "Tell me everything about
that.
SG1."